Welcome to the Qualified Business Champions mini-series, where we're going to highlight a recent graduate on how they create more purpose, more profit, and productivity all around them. So welcome to the guest, or welcome to the mini-series, our guest, Lamont Watson. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing awesome, Spencer. Thanks for asking.
Great. And I know you're on the phone, and so the audio is a little bit different. So let me move this. My little screen is all over the place here. We just wrapped this whole thing up. Before we get started, why don't you share with everybody kind of what industry you're in? And most of the people that are going to see this have probably already going to see Erica's. So I don't know if Erica had a chance to tell you a little bit about her conversation on here, but she did tell us about what her role is. But why don't you tell us about what industry you're in, how long you've been doing it, and then give us a sense of production as well.
Gotcha. I'm in the mortgage industry. I'm in sales. I've been in the industry for 15 years. I am with my company a President's Club winner, current company for the last 7 years. And as a President's Club winner, that's the top 8% of loan officers in the country. And that's the number 3 mortgage lender as far as purchase business in the country. Personal production for myself and my team. We help anywhere from 160 to 212 families purchase or refinance a home in an annual year.
Wow. And I've already covered some of this in previous audio, so hopefully somebody wouldn't have jumped all the way to this one, and they might have because they want to hear from Lamont. But I'll just for point of reference, we have determined that apparently the average loan officer probably does about 2 a month or 24 in a year. And so when you say numbers like what you're sharing and knowing that you're in the top 8% of Guild Mortgage, that also puts you, because that is a very large company, that puts you pretty high up there in terms of your production, relatively speaking. So way to go. Yeah.
Thank you. My role, go ahead, Tristan.
No, I was gonna ask you a question, or I was gonna point out too to everybody that you are so good at this whole process and you continuously get better at this that you actually coach other loan officers. Is that not right?
I do. I am part of our Guild national coaching team. I coach other loan officers on the process and the mindset to be able to be better at what we do.
Yeah, and that's a huge honor too. I've been in those shoes. I am in those shoes, and that is such a really cool place to be in if you have the skill to do it. Because there's some people that just think they're coaches and know nothing about how to coach. They just think it's having a conversation and pumping people up, and that's not coaching. So it speaks well of who you are, what you do. So I know I guess you're primarily referred to as a sales manager on your team. Is that right?
I am. I'm a producing sales manager, which means that I still do the activities of the loan officer, but I also manage other loan officers. I have my own personal production, and that number I gave you was my personal production. My overall team with all the other loan officers that work with me, we do an annual about $75 million in volume and help a little over 450 families in regards to their purchasing powers.
Well, if that doesn't give everybody a baseline on the caliber of conversation you're about to have, then you might as well just shut this thing off now, because that's awesome. So now, before we get too far into all of this, tell us a little bit about yourself, family, maybe previous career if you had one, or how did you get into the mortgage business? Just some of the personal side so people can get to know you. And I know both of us have something in common. We both like the color orange, and we're in the ACC.
We are. I'm 45 years old as of this taping, so I don't know how long this is going to be on the internet. I've been married to my high school sweetheart and college sweetheart. We've been together, married 19 years, dated in high school and college 10 years. We have 3 daughters. Our first one's going to college this year. She's going to the nationally ranked #1 Clemson Tiger football, reigning national football champions.
I knew that was going to
have a daughter. We have a daughter that's heading to high school, and then we bookend that with a rising second grader. So I'm a man that loves estrogen. I have a dog, and guess what? Happens to be a female.
Yeah. We actually, Eric and I did touch base on that, because you and I have that in common. I have 3 daughters. They're a little further ahead, but 3 daughters and a female dog. So we're both we have that similarity.
Wow.
It's funny.
Wow.
How'd you get into the mortgage business?
Well, ideally, the mortgage business is not where I wanted to be. It's not where I thought my gifting was going to be. I bought a house and my experience was not the best. And I told my broker at that time that I think I could do the better job than the individual doing it. And she said, you have the personality for it. Fast forward about 3 years later, economy had blown up. My wife's job as an engineer had gone overseas. And I was in construction. I was a construction foreman, and I traveled across the country, got a little bit tired of the traveling, and sought three jobs, careers. One was with a now defunct finance company, and the second one was with a big cable company as an outside sales rep. Cable company gentleman told me, I remember this clear as day. He told me on a Tuesday that he didn't think my ability to relate or basically sell is what it was. He didn't think I could do that, and I told him, well, it wasn't about selling, it was about relating and educating. And so hence I didn't get that job. Came home a little despondent and said, my heart's not quite in that, but we do have to make some money. Got a phone call from a mortgage company that I started with at that time, said that we have one position open. We'd like to interview you based off your resume. Went in on my day off, shadowed for a whole day, and didn't think I'd get the job. There was 30 people, and I had no experience. He called back on a Friday and said, can you start on a Monday? And that is hence I've never looked back and just enjoyed that opportunity that was given to me. I did exactly what the Latin term carpe diem is. I seize the day, and I continue to do it each and every day.
I think that's spectacular. So real fast, I'm going to go back to two things. One, you had a nugget in there I want to make sure everybody heard. You said it's about relating and educating. Now, I don't know if you actually had that in your head at the time when they turned you down, but that is a nugget everybody needs to hold on to when they're talking about helping influence and working with other individuals. It's about relating and educating. I tell people all the time, you got to connect before you can convert. And that's essentially or similar to what you're saying, other than the education piece of that. The other thing too, it is amazing to me how many people I've run across that are in some sort of a business, and it doesn't have to be sales, just in business or whatever role they're in, they're excelling in. How many people in the past have had that experience where somebody says, you probably will never do well at this. And then they turn around and be the very one to do really well at that. So that's exciting.
That motivates me still this day. I will tell new prospects and new team members, that's where my humble story began. That's not whether it was finished, but that's where it began. And that nugget continues to give me a drive to be better.
Love it. Now, what did you go to school for originally? What did you?
Originally, I wanted to be an engineer.
Okay.
Completely, that is not my set of skills. That wasn't my skill set. I went for the reason of that's where the money was. Don't necessarily go for what your money is. Find out what your true passion is, and you'll actually end up making the money that you want. I ended up switching to packaging science, went to Clemson, and that would have been a slow death for me, to be honest with you. The creativity I have and the purpose I have is to help people. And I really have found a platform in mortgage lending that's essential. You know, I'm helping with one of the biggest dreams that anybody has in their life outside of getting married and, you know, having a child. You know, purchasing your own home is the American dream, but it's also everybody has to have a place to stay. So why not own your opportunity? Everybody's story is completely different, and it's just great to interact. I've made some long-lasting relationships, and as you see behind me, there's different awards that I have for my production, but my most important one is the one that I have that sits here, and I'll show it to you. This is my very first purchase from a client who gave this to me as a gift. It's an abstract piece of art. And what she did was she was turned down by 7 different lenders. And I took the time to figure out how to get it in there. And I said, well, what is this? And she said, what do you think it is? And I said, it's 3 people, because she had 2 kids, lifting people up. And she said, nope, it's you taking the rest of us and bringing us to a level and helping us out. And this is my most cherished piece of hardware while I've been in the business.
I love that. I too have little things like that. I got stuff right there. I don't know if you can see it, that whole section over there. And then I have a focus folder where all these notes and things. Yeah, it's a gratifying business, especially for what you do too. The average American, their home or the the loan for the home is probably going to be the largest investment. It is going to be the largest investment on average for the average American that they'll ever make. And they got to have somebody that really knows what they're doing, right? So at the mastermind, or when we did the qualified champion, you actually taught everybody on a specific topic. So can you share a little bit about that topic you shared that you did in 7 minutes, by the way? It was a very short period of time, and you did a really good job of getting that out there. In 7 minutes, why don't you share with us real fast kind of the flyover, the topic, and maybe the 1, 2, 3 kind of thing that you shared that night.
Mine was relating. You can relate to anyone. I think that we have preconceived notions growing up, or preconceived attitudes of people. But one thing that my father taught me is he was a high school educated man, but he worked in middle management for a major power company. But he was able to speak to the gentleman that may have been homeless on the street, and same day speak to the CEO of the company, who's a Fortune 500 board member. And it was about relating. How do you relate to people? And then just understanding the different personalities and the different personality types, whether it's a transactional personality, which you do for me, I do for you, or you have an empathy conversation, which is you're totally engaged, you're totally understanding, and you are understanding what the other person needs, but just listening. So I have the ability, and you do too, to relate to the individual. And it's real simple. Look someone in the eye, engage in the conversation, listen to what they're saying, hear what they're saying, call back their name, and repeat back the information. And when you're doing that, you're finding that one nugget that allows people to de-escalate their preconceived notions and actually open up to you.
Yeah, I can imagine right now there's some people that have a little voice in their head going, that's so elementary, that's basic, I've heard that before. And I'm guessing that your experience has been the same as mine, that it may be elementary, but unfortunately most people don't do it. You could go to just about any place of business, and so few people have been taught to actually connect with people and relate, right? I
agree.
I recently heard somebody, and you may appreciate this, I heard somebody say that there are some people that are more committed to the ship than the relation.
Wow.
So you think about that for a minute. It might have been Tony Robbins. I'm not sure. But at the end of the day, think about that for a moment. Sometimes we get so related to the transaction and we forget the relation. So, and I remember you talked about that in terms of the transaction versus the relationship. So that was. I don't remember all the questions that were asked after you were done, but we had quite a few. Hey, what about this? What about that? Do you have any of those questions? Do you remember anything that somebody may have asked you? I don't know. I'm jump spot here.
Oh, boy. Let's see. One of the questions was, how do you do that? And what you have to do is you have to be you. And being you means being genuine. If people would stop putting the mask up and be who they are and accept that everybody else is taken. Mm-hmm. It's just you. And so when you focus on you, and it's some advice you had given me earlier in the day, that day, was if you're nervous speaking to people, it's because of how you think you're going to be perceived by them. They have no understanding of who you are, and you want to protect your time. You want to be able to make sure that you're relating, and when you walk in, you get the best of you every time. And if it's not good enough for them, that's their loss, not yours.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Love it. All right. So what drew you to the mastermind? Like, how did you, I know, let's just go ahead and throw it out there. It was a personal phone call. I reached out and said, hey, Lamont, I would really love to have you there. I mean, that was the initial, but you could have turned it down because you are constantly getting asked to do things. I mean, somebody in your position has to deal with what I like to call opportunity management. You could have turned it down. What was it that drew you to the mastermind?
Well, anytime I can get an opportunity to be in a room or an event or with other high-minded, liked, or even better than me in regards to their sphere of influence, I'm going to take that opportunity. If you look around the room and, hey, you're the one that's doing the best, you got to be able to continue. You're in the wrong room. You got to find somebody else or find a new sphere to push you to another level. It's all about mentorship. Yes, you asking was one, but laying out what this progress was going to be and what this empathy was and where I could see the vision. The vision is what really laid me out. And being part of that vision, because it was clearly, precisely communicated what we were going to do, what was expected of us, and then how we were going to benefit from it.
Perfect. I appreciate that. So if you're somebody who asked you, hey, excuse me, I guess better question, how would you, what did you wish you knew before you went in terms of to be better prepared?
Oh, I wish I had had a few more videos, or just had a little bit of an inkling of an overview, a 15-minute overview of here's what our expectations are going to be prior to. And I think that the only thing that I would have done or would have liked, and this is the infancy, so I'm fine with it, is get a workbook. So I could have kept my notes together.
We're working on all those pieces. Is there anything that would have helped you get more out of it, I guess is what I'm asking, in terms of to get prepared for it?
I actually no, Spencer, because I went in with no expectations except to learn as much as I could and then to give back.
Got it. Okay. So what kind of people do you think would be most interested in doing something like this? What would be a good fit? Who would be a good fit?
Good fit is someone, number one, with an open mindset. All right. They have to have an open mindset to be able to submit to change, because the information that's going to be given to them is going to be so impactful, not just in their business, but in how they relate to anyone. This information is transferable into your personal life, into your spiritual life, into your business life. It gives you steps on how to be a better person. I think those that have the capacity, commission sales with no cap, I think would actually be pretty good. Business owners and those who are impactful spheres of influence. This would be able to help them teach.
Influencers, then, is what you're referring to. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you. So tell us a little bit about your experience. We're not going to go through every single session because we covered a lot in that short period of time. Tell us a little bit about your experience, and then if you don't mind, maybe just share 2 or 3 takeaways and how you actually used it in your business or your life.
Well, I'll tell you the primary way, the experience I've had was that I enjoyed the synergy, but just having the different steps, the biggest takeaway that I applicated was the synergy in regards to, I did this in personal life with my family, my daughters, my wife, and I did it with my team. We did a collaboration. Instead of me being the one driving everything, I asked them, here's what the vision is. Tell me, how do you think you can help us achieve this vision?
Wow.
And then they told me by doing that, they took the accountability and they fought for that part because they didn't want to not see us be successful. So that primary example was we had just got back from our President's Club meeting.
Yep.
And I laid out a number. I said, I want to have this number of families helped under contract. And it was a pretty hefty number in 10 days. They all looked at me and I said, so how do you think we should do that? And they said, well, you should do this, you should do this, I'll do this. And when we did it, we hit that number on the 10th day. And we had been trying to hit that for a year and we hit it. So taking the applications that you had in regards to what are my resources, utilizing my resources and understanding, let's use them better. But it doesn't have to be me using them better. Using them better doesn't mean it's always on me. If you have a team or a family, you have that whole family and you allow them to help out. So that was on the business side. On the personal side, we have an 18-year-old daughter. We have a daughter that's 7 years old, and we have one that's 14. We're going to have a graduation party for the 18-year-old. We're going to decide it was going to be at the house. The house needed some deferred maintenance. So Dad started to put together a whole list. And Mom, who happens to be Erica, said, wait a minute, you're wanting to tell us, how about we implement the same thing? So we wrote the whole list, and I put it down and said, anything you see that you can do, you put your name next to it and you go do it. And instead of me being the pusher, we got more done because they owned it and they wanted to figure out how to get that win themselves. So we were able to get a big, massive project broken down and accomplished that I had set aside 3 days to do, and we did it in one afternoon.
Yeah, that's amazing. And oddly enough, you're pouring into them, which then allows them to actually build their own personal confidence. And then they learn to do things in some ways that maybe they hadn't done before, too. So that there's a lot of value in doing that. I don't know if I shared this with you, but and for those that are listening to this or watching this and don't know, the mechanics portion of what we do is broken down into 4 pieces, and we've now made it into an acronym of Robo, R-O-B-O. So now it's a little bit easier, and it's also in line with the concept of mechanics, right? So the resources, the outcome, the breakdown, and then the optimization. So those are the 4 pieces when you put those together, and it sounds like I just used this today with a big real estate team. I said, because they're like, we want to do this, we want to do this. I said, all right, stop. What are our resources? And we did a resource assessment right there with the same way we did in the at the Mastermind.
Right.
We put it on a board and everybody, just writing stuff down. And then, okay, so what's our outcome for this particular situation? And then how do we break that down? How do we make that happen? And then from the breakdown, after you take action there, then you can optimize it along the way or refine it. So I think
love it.
That's awesome, and how you actually used that. So really, you shared with us not necessarily a particular like an experience that happened there or a story. What you did share, though, well, I guess you did. You came back and said X number in 10 days. That's a pretty good story. That's awesome. But you really did kind of summarize almost the whole thing and saying these are the ways that we used it. So I love that. Well, that negates my next question, because I have a list over here, and the next one was going to be a specific story or result, and I think you just shared that included. So if somebody was considering coming to another event and we're going to do like this, what would be your advice to anyone considering this investment?
You absolutely have to take it. If you want to make an impact, don't do it just for you, but you can do it for everybody that you're going to come in contact with, because it's that impactful. I've told my team that in order for me to be able to help them, and that's including my family, I have to be the best for me. And your mastermind gave me the mechanics to be able to go ahead and take my mindset, which was to be the best. At least I thought I wanted to be the best. But how do you achieve that? Mm-hmm. Everybody has greatness in them, but what do you want to do? What are you going to do to unearth that and put that into action? There's a difference between being practicality and actionable. And your mastermind has helped me go from moving from practicality to action.
I love it. So I appreciate that. And I know this is going to grow, and once we get off the air here, I'm going to share a little bit more in detail about some of the things that we're actually rolling out. The exciting thing is that we've now set it up so that we cover all 5 areas of the business, and we use all of the principles there's actually 9 principles. You guys see it as 8, but there's actually the one at the beginning, which is identifying the pattern, which is all of that behind me over here. Remember that, the pattern and understanding the pattern. Right. And so many people, they're in that positive pattern, but they don't understand how to get into purpose. And there's so many people that are in that productive pattern that just don't know how to get into purpose, moving it up. And you're familiar with it because you saw it all unfold. But that is understanding the pattern helps us understand whether we need to engage more in mindset or more in mechanics. So as we roll this out and do more, and as we get the book started and written, all of that will get fleshed out and it'll get even cleaner. So I am extremely grateful for your willingness to be online with us. I know you have a lot of other things going on, and I've always appreciated the relationship with you anyway, because back when I was actually real estate producing, who knows how long ago, you were one of those situations where you had a relationship with a different real estate agent, and they said, I had a deal that was falling south, and I said, who do you know that actually knows what they're talking about? And I remember it was Samantha. She said, you need to call Lamont. I said, well, look, I need his number because I don't have time. What, you know, and you turned it around. You actually did that deal, I remember. And I'm pretty sure I sent you 60% or more of what I was doing.
You did. But it was about the relationship.
Yeah,
as you stated earlier, it was the relationship, and it started, and it still continues. It continues to grow. Each and every day, it's like you have to put fuel in your body. You have to
here's
put
the thing,
fuel in your car.
Here's the thing, and I think this is where the qualified champion makes a difference for some people. There are some people that are actually really, really good at relating, but they are no good at getting results.
That's true.
There's loan officers out there. I mean, they're friendly. I'd love to, I hang out. We're good. We know each other, but they can't get results. And so that'd be the one in that first quadrant, right up there, the positive.
Upper left. Yep.
Yeah. So that's fine. They can relate, but if you can't educate, right? Coming back around to what you said earlier, you can relate, but if you can't educate and actually get stuff done, then you're just a champion, but you're not a qualified champion. So I appreciate what you do and how you do things, and I'm looking forward to seeing how all this continues to grow for you and everything we're doing as well. I love the relationship we have. So you got anything else you want to throw out there, or good to go?
I'm good. Hey, listen, I am having a great day. Each and every day that I get an opportunity to wake up, to serve my God, each day I have an opportunity to make it a better. So when I have the breath in my body, I'm going to do the best in my ability and continue to help and serve.
Love it. So those of you that want to know anything about Lamont, you can most likely find him online, Lamont Watson with Guild Mortgage. If you want to do a loan, probably anywhere in the state of South Carolina. You licensed anywhere else?
Georgia and North Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, you see, you added that to your portfolio since I last knew. So Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. If you're looking for a loan and you want somebody that actually knows what they're talking about, you want to share your phone number or a business line or something, or a website?
You can reach me at 803-567-6680. And if you're online, look up Guild Mortgage Lamont Watson. You're more than welcome to apply there through my secured online link, and we will get the process started. My team is committed to helping you get into your dream of home ownership, or if you're looking for some other options to refinance your existing property, we're able to present you with a professional presentation on how we can help you with your home. There you go. That, my friends, is a qualified champion. I am grateful for that relationship. So I'm going to find the little button that says we're done. And until next time, if you want any more information about Spencer Combs and what we're doing, feel free to reach out and find us at spencercombs.com. At the bottom, you'll see all of our contact information, and we're constantly updating our blog. And there's a social page there, or About Us page as well, where you can keep up with us on all the different places. We're going to be running Qualified Champion Masterminds, and the Qualified Business Champion event will probably be done in the fall on a regular basis, as well as the Momentum Weekend, which is kind of the gateway to all of it. So keep an eye out for all of that. Thank you guys for being with us, and keep well, keep moving forward.